Carbon tax, right?
Yes.
Which is not fair, I think, in my opinion.
Carbon tax? Absolute disgrace.
I actually didn't realize how much difference there was going to be between yesterday and today.
As part of its national plan to put a price on carbon, the Trudeau government imposed its federal carbon tax on provincial holdouts that don't have their own plans: Saskatchewan, Manitoba, Ontario, and New Brunswick. It starts at $20 per ton. For gas, that means an extra 4.4 cents per litre. But the tax ratchets up every year until 2022, when it more than doubles. And the costs on fossil fuels will also filter down to all kinds of products. There's a tax rebate designed to offset those costs, but for those gassing up today, the sticker shock is real.
My income really hasn't changed, so I will definitely notice it.
So how is the carbon tax, and the rebate for that matter, supposed to work? Peter Armstrong gives us the nuts and bolts.
The whole idea here is to use pricing to change behavior, something that already happens all the time.
When one vacation costs more, we look at others. When one kind of vegetable costs more because of a price spike, we look for alternatives.
In this case, it's the price of goods and services that cause greenhouse gas emissions. Gas for your car, home heating fuel, natural gas. Consider the cost of gasoline. The best-selling vehicle in Canada is the Ford F-Series pickup truck. A carbon tax means an extra $3.80 to fill it up. For the best-selling car, tack on another $1.98 per fill-up. So that's the cost. But remember, the government will send money back to families as well. Imagine a bar where the price of a certain beer goes up by $5. But the bar is giving out $5 bills. You can still buy that more expensive beer and use that rebate to cover the additional expense, or you can pocket the $5 and buy a different, less expensive beer. It's the same premise with the carbon tax rebate. A higher price, but a chance to pocket extra cash if consumers find a cheaper way to get around or heat their homes and businesses. But what choices do consumers really have? Well, they could buy a more fuel-efficient car or furnace. Some could use more public transit.
But the whole point is not to be prescriptive. It's not to determine in the rooms of government which is the right way for each of us to reduce our emissions.
That rebate varies across Canada, but the projected cost is less than the rebate in every scenario. And advocates say the math has already been borne out. British Columbia has had a carbon tax in place for more than a decade. Its economic growth is the best in Canada. People are driving more fuel-efficient cars, and they're driving less. And since BC's carbon tax was introduced in 2008, emissions have fallen up to 15% from where they would have been. Peter Armstrong, CBC News, Toronto.
Okay, now for the politics. For the 4 provinces hit with a fresh tax in an election year, this is good wedge politics for both sides, both provincially and federally. Conservatives see some opportunity. The 4 provinces hit by the carbon tax today are all run by Conservative premiers. All oppose the tax. Ontario and Saskatchewan are actually fighting it in the courts.
It doesn't work. It taxes our jobs. It taxes our families.
Our government is going to fight the Trudeau Liberal carbon tax with every tool at our disposal.
And nationally, the Liberals may have just given the opposition an election year applause line.
My first act as Prime Minister will be to scrap Justin Trudeau's carbon tax.
But on the flip side, Liberals may welcome a fight on the environment.
Pollution has been free. We need to put a price on it.
The carbon tax is a potential winner for voters who care about climate, not to mention a stark contrast with those who have yet to announce a plan.
We're focused, quite frankly, on Canadians whose houses are flooded, who are being impacted by extreme heat, who are concerned about climate change and want to do their part and want to make sure that it's done in a way that actually works.
And with the SNC affair on a rolling boil, the Liberals may view any change of subject as a good thing.